Hey, good evening. It's June 11th, 2012. The day is pretty well spent. Kids are inside eating their dessert, and I'm out here making a video. What I want to talk about tonight is organic pest management. It's not something that I've thought a lot about until now. I had an opportunity to pick up an old Mother Earth News magazine we got at the grocery store a while back, and they had an interesting article on natural pest control and how to enlist the good bugs. And they've got a website, you can go on there and probably access that article. It's a good read. They had some good suggestions on what you can do. The big one was just making sure you had a food source, an alternate food source for your beneficial bugs, your assassin bugs and your pollinators, that being some kind of flowering plant, be it a flower or vegetable. And so here we've allowed our broccoli to flower, to go ahead and bolt and just live its life cycle out, and it's produced this magnificent foliage, these nice little flowers that have attracted all kinds of bugs. At least I've seen, miniature wasps, taconite flies, all sorts of bees, bumblebees, basically are pollinators and assassin bugs. So providing a food source was the big one. Working on that, incorporating flowers, perennial beds or perennial borders around your beds. Flowers, or maybe just having a designated spot in the garden to help cultivate that. I also suggested just hedgerows or I guess mulch beds. Basically an area where the soil isn't disturbed a whole lot, which that could be another advantage of this kind of no-till approach that I've adopted here recently. Use a broad fork to loosen my beds up instead of a tiller. The difference being a tiller turns the soil over and grinds it up into a pulp and destroying the structure and pretty much anything living in those top 6-inch layer of soil, or however, whatever depth you set the tines to. Doing a no-till, I just use a broad fork and lift the soil and aerate it, which pretty much keeps the structure of the soil intact, loosens it up a little bit to aerate it, and so I'm not disturbing the beds a whole lot. So that was another suggestion. It's just having an area that isn't disturbed, because these good bugs spend part of their life cycle, like the other bugs, in the soil, in the larva stage or whatever. They spend the winter in the ground. So that's another thing that they advise providing, a water source, like little bowls of water, decorative bowls or plates that have some rocks in them and some water, and just keeping fresh water in there to give them something to drink. I don't know, those are the big things. There were like 7 different things that they recommended doing to attract good bugs. So I'm doing part of that. And for the most part, we don't have a lot of trouble with pests around here. But again, it's something that I need to be more conscientious about. I plan on adding some flowers, not just marigolds, but some flowers that have pollen and nectar that's easily accessible. So that I attract these pollinators and assassin bugs to the garden. The advantage of doing all this, why would you want to go to the trouble to try to attract these good bugs to the garden? Well, it's going to save you a whole lot of time and effort as far as pest control on the back end. There's depending where you live, there's gardeners that spend money on chemicals or spraying 7 or some other pesticide on their vegetables, to keep the Japanese beetles or whatever pests they're dealing with. Whereas if they would, kind of adopt this approach, make an inviting area for the good bugs, these assassin bugs and pollinators would pretty much keep the population of the bad bugs in check. And that's something, again, that I've seen here over the last couple of years. I guess one example would be the tomato hornworm. I had 10-foot tall tomato trellis last summer. And about all my tomatoes, when I came out, and there were tomato hornworms on just about every plant, the giant green caterpillars. But on each one of the caterpillars were tachinid fly eggs, egg sacs or larvae that were attached to the backsaw of these, and within a day those hornworms were all dead, where the larvae had sucked them dry. So that's just one example, you know, of things I saw. I saw some lacewings at night. I came out with a little headlamp and was in the cucumber patch, just kind of looking around to see what kind of bugs there were, and it was just neat seeing all the various kinds of I guess what you'd call assassin bugs, just kind of waiting, stalking the prey. And not to mention spiders. We got all kinds of jumping spiders in these beds that we've come across. They're kind of elusive. You don't see them a whole lot, but occasionally when you're cleaning out a vegetable bed and pulling the plants, you come across a little silky egg sac, or you know, sometimes you come across the actual spider themselves. It's solid black with white marking. This is the adult bold jumping spider, I think it's called. But anyway, there's just a diverse population of insects, and again, it all starts doing things organically, not using chemicals, not tilling if at all possible, and building the soil, and then now just, you know, adding more of a food source, which again is something I do. And again, this article in Mother Earth News highlights a lot of has a lot of tips, a list of different plants you can have in the garden, and I don't know, just another thing I need to continue to read up on and study, and hopefully, you know, next year things are even better. So I guess that's all for now. Until next time.